Welcome back, everybody, to the weekend show where I'll be doing technical analysis on big mega cap stocks. So, before we get started, please hit that like button, and that is greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now, if you want to support the channel and get my daily trade ideas, swing trade ideas, live trading, and all kinds of setups, definitely check out my link down in the description for Patreon. And now, let's get right into the market. But before that, we do have big earnings coming up this week. You can see Visa, SoFi, PayPal, Boeing, UPS, Spotify. Then we have some big names, Meta, Microsoft. We also have Robinhood reporting earnings this week. That stock is just running, so we'll see how that goes. We got CVS, Roblox, Apple, Amazon, Coinbase, ExxonMobil. So this is going to be a jam-packed week. Now, stock market hitting another brand new all-time high. You got some China AI news here, so we'll see how that plays out going into Monday's session. But the market hitting all-time high, and Dow is near all-time highs, up 0.47% on Friday. Nasdaq going up 0.24%, S&P going up 0.40%, and Russell going up 0.37%. 11 sectors, pretty much all in the green except energy and communication services lagging behind. Leading the way on top, industrials, consumer cyclical, financial, basic materials, healthcare, and technology. Stock market map. Well, same story. You can see one of these mega caps has to run. And now Tesla was up over 3.5%, Apple flat, Amazon flat, Meta flat, even Google just going up slightly on the day, pretty much flat. Nvidia absolutely flat, AMD going up 2.68%, and Microsoft going up just over 0.5%. And now let's get right into Apple stock. On Apple stock, it's absolutely flat on the day, and you can see, I mean, this wedge is just going all over the place. But I think it's coming this week, guys. Whether we get a breakout or this thing will crash and come down. But I think the way this thing is running, we might see some sort of usually setups like this one, and I could be wrong. There is no guarantee. Setups like this usually break out to the upside, either with a gap up or some sort of a news, and it will just run and then you will see a big move to the upside. But so far, past couple weeks, every time we get to that 214 range, which is that level, so it has to break. And if that breaks, we get a retest of that breakout. Definitely is heading up for this gap 221. So this week with earnings on Thursday, keep an eye on that 214 range. As long as we can get over that, and possibly this thing moves up even higher past these candles right here, which is at 215 to 16, it can actually big move up to 220, 221, possibly even 225 right up here. Now to the downside, if this thing falls below 214, which it did on Thursday and even on Friday, then watch out for a move possibly down here around 210 and from there 207. But so far, you can see it just coiling up for a big move. And I hope I'm not wrong and we get a big move to the upside here on Apple stock, especially with earnings coming up or even after earnings. On Amazon stock is down 0.34%, so Amazon was fantastic. Just like I said before, guys, we did not fully close the gap, but consider this gap is closed. We got up to 236 on Thursday, and boy oh boy, wasn't this an opportunity to short the stock at that point and play to the downside. I even called it out. Unfortunately, myself, I didn't, I was not near the, my desk, and I don't really trade from the phone. I didn't have any alert set on, but I did call out for the Patreon members if this thing hits 236 to play 230 puts. And if you took one of these call outs here on Amazon, you made a lot of money because there was that drop all the way down to almost 230. I almost gave up $5-6, and now holding over 230 here on Amazon. So with earnings coming up, I mean, it's hard to say where things are going to actually go from here. But with earnings, good earnings, this thing can go and possibly hit previous all-time highs again, 242.52. This gap will be fully closed. So we still have a chance where this thing can come up here at 236.01 to close this gap this week. But if this thing falls below 230, then watch out for the next big level, 225, and then 220 all the way down to this 216 range on Amazon. On Google Stack, it's up 0.46%. So here's another one that can actually move back up to the upside because we still have a gap, and that is pretty much $10 away from where it's trading right now, 194. And I think this one has the potential. Earnings on Google was great, and I think it can go there, just consolidating before that next big leg up. So this thing holds over this 5-day moving average, 192. Even if it comes down here, 185, and holds, I think you can still go to 204 to close this massive gap from that previous earnings. Now to the downside, if this cannot hold 192.41, expect more downside down to 186 to 183. You can see these moving averages. This high right here where we got rejection multiple times, that should act as a strong support if we get that pullback that deep here on Google. So Netflix, as expected, I mean, you can see where this thing came down to. Well, you can see pretty much right here, guys. On Thursday, 1163, we got a bounce off of that level. It's a strong level here. You can see previous rejection, previous all-time high, now acting as a support. So as long as 1163 can hold, it can push up to this 5-day moving average, 1192.28, and maybe even 1200. I mean, this is a big mover. So if this thing wants to move, it can definitely move. Now, if this thing sets up a lower high here at 1200, maybe at 1233 here at the 50-day, it's not looking good, and this thing can drop significantly all the way down to below 1163. There is pretty much nothing here. It can drop down to these lows down here at 1100 and then 1065, which was this high right here. That could be a retest of that big breakout to the upside. On AMD, it's up 2.68%. So what did I say before? Well, AMD had this massive move to the downside here, and bulls were just too strong to close the gap here. They would not allow the bears to close the gap, and they held before getting closer to the gap. We got down to 149 right here, and things just pushing higher now. So you can see, I mean, this thing can easily come up and hit 174, but things are a bit frothy and overextended. So if there is some sort of a retracement down to maybe I would say 160 to 162, that would be somewhat of a buying opportunity. But this cannot be a long position here on AMD. But if this thing continues Monday, which it can, definitely the next big level to watch where it can possibly get a pullback, that's going to be at 174. If this thing falls below 162 to 160, 5-day moving average, the next big support 154.41, and then the gap fill reversal at 147.58 on AMD. On Tesla stock, it's up 3.52%. So Tesla right here at $302. I bought some shares. And trust me, when I buy shares of Tesla at 300 or slightly below that, I'm not here to long Tesla at 300. So on Friday, we got out of that position, and it was pretty much, I think, almost $21, $22 per share profit on that play, and not any calls, nothing, because this was too dangerous to play calls on Tesla. But now you can see, I mean, this thing is eyeing that gap at 328. So Tesla earnings are behind. You can definitely run, and you can see Bollinger Bands are squeezing here. So I think very soon, whether it's a robotaxi news or some sort of a news that comes out where this thing can push over that 330 range or breaks below 300, I mean, it could play out, on either side. It could just break out or comes down and breaks down below 300 because Bollinger Bands are squeezing. That means one thing, that big move is coming. When that's coming, well, I wish I can give you guys a date, but it's coming, very soon here on Tesla. So watch out if this thing, moves up even higher. You can see where we took profit was pretty much at 323, and then this thing gave up like almost $6 7. I got out completely, and now trading just over that 20-day moving average, which is at 315. So 315 will be a level of interest, a level of support to watch Monday. Below that, flat 300, 291, 280. To the upside, this thing breaks over 323, which is this blue line 5-day moving average on your screen. Then it's heading back up to 328 to close the gap, and possibly even 330 to retest this high where it got rejected multiple times right here on Tesla. So Meta, we have earnings this week, and Meta was down slightly on Friday, 0.30%, pretty much a flat day. But if you look at this, we're just pretty much consolidating here inside this wedge, or whatever you want to call it right here. just like it did before, and then we saw that big pop to the upside, brand new all-time high. And now I think investors are just waiting for that earnings. So it could be huge where this thing breaks out to a brand new all-time high, 8 900 can come easily. But also keep that in mind, just the way this thing went up. And I mean, this was the somewhat of a pullback that we saw back in April, and since then just gap up and go, right? So I'm not too sure about this earnings. We'll see how that goes, but definitely that's going to play a big role here for the stock to move higher or possibly a dump off from where it's trading right now. Going into Monday's session, that 7 at 12, 713 level has to hold. And why? Because you got these moving averages right here. Below that, free fall down to 700, 696, 682. Over 713, 712, it can possibly move up to previous all-time highs and possibly will make another brand new all-time high at that point. But I think there is going to be a lot of chop before earnings, and then you'll see a directional move right here on Meta. On Microsoft, it's up 0.5%. So Microsoft with good earnings, catching up to Nvidia, almost getting closer to $4 trillion market cap. And I think this is not where opportunity is. Microsoft, Nvidia, even Amazon now, Google is also gone. Opportunity is on Apple. It can easily go up to 250, 300, and we still have lot of opportunity left on that stock. It just when and how we get that breakout and when the stock is going to make that move to the upside. Now, here on Microsoft, watch out if this thing holds over that 515 range going into Monday session. It can continue up to 520, 530. To the downside, 510 key line in the sand. That's a well support here. Below that, gap fill reversal can act as a support 506.79 and the 20-day moving average right here at 503 and then flat 500. All right, so let's talk about Nvidia. It does not want to give up, and we saw a brand new all-time high on Friday, and from there we saw slight tiny pullback. So I'm going to extend this line even though I don't want to, but you can see it came down here just previously and found support and went back up. So now if this thing pulls back, there will be support around 170 to 171, the trend line support. Below that, we might see a drop down to 165 to even 160. But if this thing continues, guys, those 180 calls that I've been talking about, for past maybe 4 weeks to 6 weeks, it can possibly go there. And there is still, $6 to $7 upside. But would I be chasing this for that? Absolutely not. Wells, they bought these contracts before, and it can definitely head higher from here unless we get a correction or a decent pullback in overall stock market, and that starts with Nvidia stock and drops significantly and breaks below this trend line, then you're going to see a meaningful pullback here on Nvidia stock and also in overall stock market. So as long as this thing remains over that 173 range, it can push up to 180. That is the well target here on Nvidia stock. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll definitely keep you guys updated.